When everyone avoided the place of the stone, Ifediche reminded her mistress, the jealous palm broker, it is denied that the spirits will pass by the stone to get to the place of their meeting. The palm broker answered, shouting with great annoyance, Ifediche, you are a fool to remind me of the spirits' meeting this night. Don't you know that your old father has pounded you for money? Ifediche, you must understand as from now that a pound girl like you must work at any time in the day or night. Better you put the basket of corn on your head and go and grind it for me, or else go and tell your old father to pay my money back at once. Willingly or not, Ifediche, with tears rolling down her cheeks, carried the corn to that strange grinding stone that night. Ifediche had hardly got to the stone when she knelt down before it and began to grind the corn as hastily as she could in fear. She tried her best to grind all the corn so that she might live there before the arrival of the spirits, but all her efforts were in vain. At last, a one-headed spirit who first arrived and met her there stopped and shouted horribly at Ifediche.
Who are you? Grinding corn.
Once upon a time in a village, there lived an old man who had only a daughter named Ifediche. This old man was so poor that all his neighbors and friends believed that he was destined for poverty from birth. Although he was a hard-working man from his youth, as he grew older, it was so that his poverty became more serious. At last, he became so entirely old and weary that he could not go and work on his farm for his living. Then his only daughter, Ifediche, advised him to pawn her for money so that he might get money for his food. So without delay, but with great sorrow, this old man took Ifediche to a palm broker who lived in another village, and he pawned Ifediche. Having got the money, this old man returned to his village with the money. The pawnbroker was a middle-aged woman. She was very greedy and jealous, and she had only one son. She loved this her son so much that she indulged him in everything. She did not even allow him to do any work. The work that Ifediche was going to do for her was to grind corn until Ifediche's old father would be able to refund the money for which she was pawned. In the village of this pawnbroker, there was a very large flat grinding stone on which all the people of the village ground their corn, pepper, and many other things. None of the people of this village could tell how the strange stone came there. It was on the outskirts of the village, and it was by the side of the strange road which the spirits used to pass through to get to their meeting place in the night. Anyone who was there on the night of their meeting would be carried away by the spirits. But as this pawnbroker was merciless, she forced poor Ifediche to go and grind corn on the same stone every night. She was not worried at all whether Ifediche was carried away by the spirits. When it was the 7th day of the week, when everyone avoided the place of the stone, Ifediche reminded her mistress, the jealous pawnbroker, it is denied that the spirits will pass by the stone to get to the place of their meeting. The pawnbroker answered, shouting with great annoyance, Ifediche, you are a fool to remind me of the spirits' meeting this night. Don't you know that your old father has pounded you for money? Ifediche, you must understand as from now that a pound girl like you must work at any time in the day or night. Better you put the basket of corn on your head and go and grind it for me, or else go and tell your old father to pay my money back at once. Willingly or not, Ifediche, with tears rolling down her cheeks, carried the corn to that strange grinding stone that night. Ifediche had hardly got to the stone when she knelt down before it and began to grind the corn as hastily as she could in fear. She tried her best to grind all the corn so that she might live there before the arrival of the spirits, but all her efforts were in vain. At last, a one-headed spirit who first arrived and met her there stopped and shouted horribly at Ifediche.
Who are you? Grinding corn on this stone this night. Don't you know that we spirits are having our meeting this night, and that we will pass through here to get to our meeting place?
Yes, I am sure that you spirits will pass through here this night. And of course, I reminded my mistress, the jealous pawnbroker, about it, but she forced me to come here.
Ifediche explained with fears in a trembling voice.
Better you live here now, I advise you.
That one-headed spirit warned Ifediche with a terrible noise.
Because if the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7-headed spirits who are my masters meet you here, they will carry you away. Leave now before it is too late for you.
Then he passed through there to the place of their meeting. But Ifediche could not return to the pawnbroker without grinding all the corn. A few minutes later, the master spirits arrived. They were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7-headed spirits. The one with 7 heads was their king. He stopped together with the rest in front of Ifediche and shouted impatiently,
Who are you so brave as to come here to grind corn this night? Are you human or some other being?
It was not my wish to come and grind corn here this night. But my mistress, who is a jealous pawnbroker and to whom I am pawned for money, has forced me to come here this night. Ifediche was trembling from feet to head with fear as she explained this to the king of the spirits, and tears were rolling down her cheeks. Luckily, he listened to her attentively. He did not attempt to kill or take her away like he usually does. Instead, he was sorry when he had heard her explanation. After he paused for a while, he told her to spread her head tie on the grinding stone. When she had done so with fear, he pulled out one of the 7 horns which he wore on his 7 heads. When he had put the horn on the head tie and recited some magic words on it, a strange cowrie came out from it, and it fell onto the head tie.
Alright, wrap up the cowrie with your head tie and take it to your old father, and put it in the room and leave it there for one night. He should go back to the room the following morning, and whatever he finds in the head tie when he unwraps it, it is his, and I am sure that you and your old father will be happy. But I warn you, don't attempt to come to this stone at night again.
In this, the king of the spirits had taken pity on the condition of Ifediche and her father. The king of the spirits had hardly left there when Ifediche with great fear wrapped up the cowrie with her head tie, and she then went in the darkness direct to her father's house. She and her old father put the head tie in the room as soon as she entered the house. After she told him how the king of the spirits had had mercy on her, although she had ground corn on the stone in the night when the spirits passed through there on their way to the meeting. It was to Ifediche's and her father's greatest surprise that they entered the room the following morning. They did not believe their eyes at first when they saw thousands of naira scattered all over the floor. And that very morning, her father took some money. He and Ifediche went to the jealous pawnbroker. He refunded her money, for which Ifediche was pound, and in addition, he gave her a few naira as a reward. But the pawnbroker was so jealous when she saw a large sum of money in Ifediche's father's hand that she refused the reward. She saw that although she had treated Ifediche badly, The bad treatment had forced her to meet her good fortune. "Take your money away. I know how Ifediche got it, and I shall send my own son to go and grind the corn on the same stone, and my son will get an even larger amount of money from the same king of spirits. Go back to your village now." The jealous palm broker spoke jealously, and she proudly frowned at Ifediche and her old father. Then Ifediche and her old father left their village happily. The jealous palm broker shrugged and said to herself as they left, "Who would accept such a little amount of money as a reward from them, when I know where Ifediche got it?" The very next night that the spirit would pass by the stone to go to the place of their meeting, this jealous palm broker gave some quantity of corn to her son. She told him to go and grind it on the same stone. As soon as he began to grind the corn, the king of the spirits and his followers met the boy there. All of them stopped.
Who are you?
The king of the spirits shouted with great passion.
Yes, it is high time enough I teach the people of this village a lesson. Last night,
He continued with annoyance.
I met one lady here, and of course, it was your mother, the Pampruka, who sent her. But this night I shall take you away to my house instead of giving you money, because your mother is disturbing us here.
He shouted angrily at the boy. Then he gripped the poor boy so suddenly that he shrunk with fear to the size of a lizard. The king threw him in a big bag which was hung on his left shoulder, and he and his followers went direct to the place of their meeting. After his mother, the jealous palm broker, had waited till the following morning but did not see him return, she went to the strange stone, but she found nothing there. She tried with all her efforts to get her son back, but she failed. Then she went to the soothsayer. The soothsayer disclosed to her,
Your son is still alive, but he is in the custody of a certain creature who is more powerful than a human being.
"What is the remedy now?" the palm broker asked impatiently. "I mean, how can I get my son back from that creature?" The soothsayer was without mercy.
If you want to get your son back, you will sacrifice 4 goats, 4 fowls, 4 bottles of palm oil, and a large sum of money to the Iroko tree, to the god of iron, to the god of thunder, and to the god of rivers.
He said, "But my money will not be sufficient to buy all those things," the palm broker said, weeping bitterly. "What shall I do then, good soothsayer?"
I am sorry indeed,
the soothsayer said, deceiving the jealous palm broker.
but just to help you, I say go and bring all of the money that you have got at home.
Then the palm broker ran to her house and brought all the money she had to the soothsayer. He took it all from her, but her only son still could not be found. Thus, the jealous palm broker lost both her son and money as a result of her greediness and jealousy.